Homo sapiens humanity, as we know it, was not born solely from biology, evolution, or technology. It was born, and continues to be born, from repetition. From the repetition of narratives, beliefs, dogmas, myths, theories, ideologies, traditions, and symbolic structures that impose themselves as truths. The being manifested within the human species is, above all, immersed in a species that has learned to repeat. And in doing so, it seems to create. And by seeming to create, it imprisons itself. Human history is the history of how certain formulations, initially fragile, contingent, and arbitrary, crystallize into truths that come to shape behaviors, subjectivities, institutions, and horizons of possibility. Humanity was therefore built as the child of the repeaters of created truths, and it also became their prisoner. Repetition precedes reason. Before any critical reflection, human beings learn through imitation. A child learns to repeat gestures, sounds, emotional patterns, rhythms, and ways of looking at the world. Culture is essentially a mechanism of repetitive transmission. This repetition is not neutral. It selects, ranks, and defines what is permitted to think, feel, desire, and fear. Thus, from the very beginning, human beings are shaped by inherited truths, not by discovered truths. Truth, for most of human history, is not something sought, it is something received. Every human truth is born as an invention. Even when it refers to reality, it is always an interpretation, a translation, a narrative. The first truths were mythological. Then came religious, philosophical, scientific, political, and economic truths. Each presented itself as definitive, universal, and unquestionable. But all are constructions and, as constructions, they depend upon repeaters, priests, scribes, masters, teachers, scientists, journalists, algorithms, influencers, and institutions. A created truth remains alive, only because it is repeated. And the more it is repeated, the more true it appears. Repetition creates familiarity, familiarity creates comfort, and comfort creates obedience. Thus, repetition not only transmits truths, it also gags thought. Critical thinking requires rupture, estrangement, and doubt. But incessant repetition creates an environment in which doubt is seen as a threat and rupture as heresy. Therefore, entire societies may live for centuries within rigid mental structures, incapable of perceiving that what they call truth is merely the echo of ancient voices. Throughout history, different schools of thought have attempted to process, reinterpret, or confront these repeated truths. Yet, paradoxically, many of them ended up creating new repeated truths, equally dogmatic. Among the principal traditions that have shaped and continue to shape humanity, each has constructed its own way of dealing with truth. Religions were the first great machines of repetition. Their sacred texts, rituals, and doctrines function as systems for preserving truths imposed as revealed. Religion does not seek truth, it proclaims itself its guardian, and, by guarding it, prevents it from being questioned. Philosophy, on the other hand, was born as an attempt to break with mythological repetition. Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, among others, sought rational foundations for truth. But, by systematizing thought, they created schools, the schools created disciples, and the disciples created repetitions. Philosophy, which was born to liberate, also became a mechanism of dogmatic transmission.